And Wassim, Americans have been trying to kill Ayman al-Zawahiri really since 9/11, haven't they? So why did it take them so long, and how come they managed to succeed now?
Well, he was too confident and he moved. He left his hideout and he decided to go to Kabul to join his family. And when we follow such operations, we know that very often jihadi figures or targets that are followed by US intelligence or US DOD make the mistake of trying to join their families or to bring their families. That's also what lost bin Laden in Abbottabad when he tried to join, make his family come, and it was the career that was followed by US intelligence. So he was too confident, on one hand, that he wasn't risking a strike in Kabul, but on the other hand, too confident toward the Taliban themselves. Because if we go into details, we know that even bin Laden, in what we found in Abbottabad, his letters, he was saying that not all Taliban are good. Some Taliban are bad, and he was talking especially about people who are in charge today of foreign affairs in Taliban, and the guy who's spokesman, one of the spokes today. So he was too confident because he was in the house of Sirajuddin Haqqani, which is the Minister of Interior today, that he won't be targeted. And that's what made him make those mistakes, being too confident and trying to join his family.
And what impact is his death likely to have on the operations of Al-Qaeda?
Well, actually, Al-Qaeda Central isn't what the organization was in the days of bin Laden. Today, Al-Qaeda Central isn't capable of conducting attacks like 9/11 or like the USS Cole or the bombings of two US embassies in two African countries. Today, the scope is different. Al-Qaeda is reaching to local dynamics, trying to be part of local dynamics. And they failed in many places. They failed in Syria, facing HTS, which was a branch of Al-Qaeda. They failed in Iraq, facing the Islamic State. They failed in Yemen. They succeeded in Somalia with the Shabab. And they succeeded in the Sahel region in Mali because they started to doing politics. You see, and this is what Zawahiri wanted. Even Zawahiri at the time wasn't also for global jihad. He was more for attacking local governments and trying to have a foothold in places where there is already turmoil. And the idea of attacking the West and concentrating attacks on America was bin Laden's idea. So the thing is today that who's going to be in charge next? Is it going to be someone who is more bin Laden-like, trying to make global jihad and attack American interest as a first aim, or someone like Zawahiri, which is for doing more politics and being more locally entrenched in local dynamics in hotspots on the globe?
Do we have a name for who it might be, that next leader, or not yet?
We have a candidate. The most qualified candidate is Saif al-Adl. He's another Egyptian, former army officer, Al-Qaeda veteran. But the thing with him is that, as other Al-Qaeda leaders, when the Americans intervened in Afghanistan, he went to Iran. And he's one of the last few Al-Qaeda leaders still in Iran under house arrest. Because what happened a few years back, there was what we call the diplomats' deal. Because Iranian diplomats were taken hostage in Yemen, and Al-Qaeda and the Arabic Peninsula negotiated the liberation of many Al-Qaeda leaders from Iran, which happened. Many of them went to Syria. Many were killed in Syria, following the same modus operandi used by the Americans, meaning hellfire missiles without explosive charges, with blades. They were tested first in Syria 2 years back, in 2019 to be precise. And this is what was used against Zawahiri himself today. So one of the most prominent leaders today is Saif al-Adl, but him being in Iran could be an obstacle for him to take charge, unless, and that's I don't have any information or confirmation about this, unless he succeeded to leave Iran and to join Afghanistan himself. But in the upcoming days, we'll get to know.
We'll see what happens. Wassim Nasr.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, our next report takes us then